Namaskar, good evening viewers. You're watching Sansad TV and this is the news with me, Rajiv Kumar Singh. Over the next 30 minutes, we will take a look at all the latest from India and across the world. Let us get started with the headlines. Prime Minister Modi addresses 108th Indian Science Congress, underscores the role of scientists in taking the country to new heights, asserts that science should be aimed at making India Atmanirbhar. Supreme Court rules that a minister's statement cannot be attributed vicariously to the government, holds that there can be no additional restrictions on freedom of speech for public functionaries. Defence Minister inaugurates 28 infrastructure projects, including Siom Bridge in Arunachal Pradesh, asserts that the country has the capability to thwart challenges posed by opponents on the border. Snowfall disrupts normal life in Jammu and Kashmir, severe cold in North India, orange alert in many districts of Rajasthan. And Team India play their first match of New Year against Sri Lanka in Mumbai. Shivam Mavi and Shubman Gill make their T20 international debut. A quick look now on some flash news. Prime Minister Modi to interact with the students, teachers and parents in the 6th edition of Pariksha Par Charcha on 27th January. Unique Identification Authority of India introduces facility to help people update address online in Aadhaar with head of family's consent. Centre releases a draft online gaming rules, self-regulatory mechanism, mandatory verification of players and physical Indian address proposed for companies. Single-day rise of 134 COVID cases reported. Active cases fall to 2,582. Prime Minister Modi applauds new milestone of 782 crore UPI transactions in December 2022. Eyewitnesses will prove significant in Sultanpuri incident investigation, says Delhi police, adds deceased woman was not alone on her scooty. Shahi Eidgah Mosque Committee objects to Mathura court order for a survey. Order passed on plea claiming that mosque was built over birthplace of Krishna. Republican Kevin McCarthy is struggling to secure support to become new Speaker of US House of Representatives. Palestinians condemn visit to a contested holy site in Jerusalem by far-right Israeli minister Itamar Ben-Gvir as unprecedented provocation. And bodies of 28 people discovered in Burkina Faso's town of Nauna. Civil society group blames killing on government-backed forces. On to our lead story. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that 21st century India has data and technology in abundance, which can take science to new heights in the country. Inaugurating the 108th Indian Science Congress in Nagpur's Rashtrasant Tugdoji Maharaj University, Prime Minister Modi outlined the vision for science for the next 25 years. He urged the researchers to make the country self-reliant and focus on converting their knowledge to bring about change in everyday life. He also stressed on strengthening scientific processes and focus on emerging areas such as quantum technologies and data sciences. The Prime Minister asserted that India's scientific community will play an important role in achieving the heights India will reach in the next 25 years.
आज का भारत जिस साइंटिफिक अप्रोच से आगे बढ़ रहा है, हम उसके नतीजे भी देख रहे हैं। साइंस के क्षेत्र में भारत तेजी से वर्ल्ड के टॉप कंट्रीज में शामिल हो रहा है। 2015 तक हम 130 देशों की ग्लोबल इनोवेशन इंडेक्स में 81 नंबर पर थे, लेकिन 2022 में हम छलांग लगा करके 40वें नंबर पर पहुंच गए हैं। आज भारत पीएचडीज के मामले में दुनिया में टॉप 3 देशों में है। आज भारत स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम के मामले में दुनिया के टॉप 3 देशों में है।
Prime Minister called upon the scientific community to work on matters that are important for the entire humanity and the country. He said that increasing participation of women is a reflection of the progress of society and science. The theme of this year's ISC is Science and Technology for Sustainable Development with Women Empowerment.
मैं चाहूंगा कि यहां मौजूद वैज्ञानिक ऐसा इंस्टीट्यूशनल फ्रेमवर्क विकसित करें जो युवा प्रतिभाओं को आकर्षित करे और उन्हें आगे बढ़ने का मौका दे। उदाहरण के लिए टैलेंट हंट और हैकेथॉन के आयोजनों के जरिए साइंटिफिक सोच रखने वाले बच्चों की तलाश की जा सकती है। इसके बाद उन बच्चों की समझ को एक प्रॉपर रोड मैप के जरिए विकसित किया जा सकता है। इसमें सीनियर साइंटिस्ट उनकी मदद कर सकते हैं।
Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has asserted that India has every capability to thwart challenges along the border to protect the country's territory. He said this after inaugurating the Siom Bridge in Arunachal Pradesh today. He also dedicated to the nation 28 infrastructure projects completed by the Border Routes Organization in strategic areas of Ladakh, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim and Jammu and Kashmir, built at a cost of rupees 724 crore. The Defence Minister has stressed that India never encourages war and always wants to maintain cordial relations with its neighbours. However, he has stressed that the country has every capability to face any kind of situation if provoked.
हमारी सरकार काम कर रही है और जो हमारे पर्वतीय इलाके हैं और हमारे नॉर्थ ईस्ट की जो क्षेत्र हैं उसमें बॉर्डर रोड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभा रहा है और आज लगभग 28 प्रोजेक्ट्स का लोकार्पण मैंने किया है। रणनीतिक दृष्टि से भी, स्ट्रेटेजिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी इन सब सारे रोड्स की अहमियत रहती है। वैसे हम लोगों का लक्ष्य यही रहता है कि हमारे सीमा पर रहने वाले जो हमारे भारतवासी हैं, माताएं बहनें हैं, भाई हैं, उनकी आवागमन की सुख सुविधाएं या बढ़ सकें।
Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar arrived in Austria from Cyprus on the second leg of his two-nation tour on Monday. It is the first EAM-level visit from India to Austria in the last 27 years and takes place against the backdrop of 75 years of diplomatic relations between the two countries in 2023. In an interview to a popular Austrian TV show, the External Affairs Minister spoke of India's relations with China and Pakistan.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said that China did not observe agreements with India on border issues, which is why there is a tense situation between the two neighbours.
I think there's a larger concern which is based on our experiences. The concern is that we had agreements with China not to mass forces in our border areas. And they have not observed those agreements, which is why we have the currently tense situation that we do. We had an agreement not to unilaterally change the line of control, which they have tried to unilaterally do that. So there is, I think, a perception that we have which derives directly from our experiences.
Responding to a question on Pakistan, the External Affairs Minister said he could have used much harsher words than epicenter for Pakistan for its role in promoting cross-border terrorism.
No, because you are a diplomat doesn't mean you are untruthful. I could use much harsher words than epicenter. So believe me, considering what has been happening to us, I think epicenter is a very diplomatic word, because this is a country which has attacked the Parliament of India some years ago, which attacked the city of Mumbai, which went after hotels and foreign tourists, which every day sends terrorists across the border.
Jaishankar also defended India's move to import crude oil from Russia, saying Europe has imported 6 times the fossil fuel energy from Russia than India has done since February 2022. He further criticized the slow pace of UN reforms, saying those who are enjoying the benefits of permanent membership are not in a hurry to see reforms.
I would still say to a large extent it is a statistic, large extent, but you will have a situation where the world's most populous country is not among the permanent members of the Security Council. And what does it say about the state of the UN if that is the case? My sense is it will take some time, hopefully not too much time. I can see a growing body of opinion among UN members who believe that there must be change. It's not just us. You have entire Africa, entire Latin America left out. Developing countries vastly underrepresented. I think the state of the world, this was an organization invented in 1945. It's 2023.
Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
The Supreme Court said that a statement made by a minister cannot be attributed vicariously to the government even when applying the principle of collective responsibility. A 5-judge constitution bench said that no additional restrictions other than those prescribed under Article 19(2) of the Constitution can be imposed on the right to free speech of a citizen. The bench, headed by Justice S.A. Nazir, said that fundamental right under Article 19(1)(a) can be exercised even against other instrumentalities other than the state. The judgment came on a question of whether restrictions can be imposed on a public functionary's right to freedom of speech and expression. Fog enveloped parts of the national capital this morning, reducing visibility and affecting traffic movement. Minimum temperature in Delhi was recorded at 8.5 degrees Celsius. Moderate to dense fog is predicted in Delhi for the next 2 days. Cold wave conditions are set to return on the weekend and the mercury may drop to 4 degrees Celsius. Cold wave conditions continued in Punjab and Haryana with below normal temperatures recorded at many places. Most of the places in both states experienced dense fog, but Inda remained the coldest place in Punjab with a minimum temperature of 1.2 degrees Celsius. In Haryana, Sirsa was the coldest with a minimum of -3 degrees Celsius. Chandigarh recorded a minimum temperature of 6.6 degrees Celsius. The IMD has forecast a fog in the region for the next few days. Severe cold wave and fog threw daily life out of gear in many regions of Rajasthan. Fatehpur Sikar recorded the lowest minimum temperature at -1 degree Celsius on Monday night. An orange alert for the extreme cold wave in several districts including Churu, Jhunjhunu and Sikar has been issued by the Weather Office. Kashmir got a slight respite from the intense cold wave conditions on Tuesday, despite mercury staying several degrees below freezing point across the valley. Srinagar recorded a low of -4.4 degrees Celsius on Monday night compared to -5.4 degrees Celsius a night earlier. Pahalgam in South Kashmir's Anantnag district recorded a low of -7.2 degrees Celsius. The minimum in Gulmarg was minus 9.2 degrees Celsius. The ski resort has also been the coldest recorded place in Jammu and Kashmir this winter. The Met Department has forecast dry weather for the region over the next few days, leading to colder nights and slightly warmer days. The next edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha will be held on 27th of January, Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan announced today. The interaction will be held at the Tal Katora Indoor Stadium in Delhi. During the annual Pariksha Pe Charcha event, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with the students, parents and teachers. The first edition of Prime Minister's interactive program with school and college students was held on February 16, 2018. And time now for a quick look at some more news from across the nation. President Draupadi Murmu on Tuesday inaugurated the Constitution Park at Raj Bhavan in Jaipur. After inaugurating the park by unveiling a plaque, Murmu took a round of the venue and spoke to architect Anup Bhartaria. She was accompanied by Governor Kalraj Mishra, Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot and Assembly Speaker C.P. Joshi, among others. All conversions cannot be said to be illegal, the Supreme Court said today, while agreeing to hear the Madhya Pradesh government's plea challenging a High Court order restraining it from prosecuting interfaith couples who get married without informing the district magistrate. The matter has been posted for hearing on February 7th. Two armed Pakistani intruders were shot dead by the border security force in two separate incidents along the India-Pakistan international border in Punjab on Tuesday morning. The first infiltration bid was detected in the Gurdaspur sector, while the second incident took place near Darya Mansoor village in Amritsar. Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra entered Uttar Pradesh from Delhi today, where it was welcomed by party's General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi in Loni. Priyanka urged those who were participating in the yatra to continue taking the message of unity, love and respect to all parts of the country. Rahul will walk through Uttar Pradesh for the next 3 days. His yatra will re-enter Haryana on January 6th. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday paid tributes to Savitribai Phule, a pioneer in women's education, and Velu Nachiyar, a Tamil queen lauded for waging war with the colonial empire in the 18th century on their birth anniversaries. The PM said Savitribai Phule personified the indomitable spirit of our Nari Shakti. In his tribute to Velu Nachiyar, the PM said her bravery will motivate generations to come. Time for a short break in the bulletin. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
The India Startup Story. Powerful ideas. Dynamic solutions. Innovation, enterprise. Its success and challenges. Packed in a brand new show, The Journey of Startups, only on Sansad TV.
Welcome back. Let's take a look now at all the latest from the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia is planning a protracted campaign of attacks with Iranian drones to exhaust Ukraine. He said that Russia is banking on exhausting Ukrainian people, anti-aircraft defenses and energy. He said that Ukraine had to act and do everything so that the terrorists fail in their aim. He also claimed that his country's forces shot down more than 80 Iranian-built drones launched by Russia during the first 2 days of 2023. Ukraine's army said today that it targeted Russian manpower and military equipment at Shulakovka in Kherson region, killing and wounding up to 500 Russian soldiers. Spokesperson Andriy Kovalev said that another strike against Russian forces was carried out on Sunday in the settlement of Fedorovka in the Kherson region. He did not specify the number of casualties there. Kovalev added that 13 strikes on areas where enemy personnel, weapons and military equipment are concentrated, as well as 5 strikes on the positions of anti-aircraft missile systems were carried out by Ukraine in the last 24 hours. Early on Monday, Ukraine's military claimed that their forces had struck a Russian settlement in Makivka in the Donetsk region on Saturday. Ukraine military said that 10 units of enemy military equipment of various types were destroyed or damaged during the attack. Russia's defense ministry reported on Monday that 63 Russian soldiers were killed in the area of Makivka by a Ukrainian strike on a facility where military personnel was temporarily stationed. And let's take a look now at some more developments from across the globe. China has criticized the COVID-19 entry restrictions imposed by some countries targeting its citizens. It has warned that it will take corresponding measures in different situations according to the principle of reciprocity. China's abrupt lifting of COVID-19 controls last month, as well as the accuracy of its case and mortality data, have come under increasing scrutiny at home and abroad.
China has warned that it will take countermeasures based on the principle of reciprocity against countries taking measures that it claimed lack scientific basis, targeting travelers from China. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson alleged that the entry restrictions adopted by some countries targeting China lack scientific basis and some excessive practices are even more unacceptable. This came after Australia and Canada joined the list of countries requiring travelers from China to take a COVID-19 test prior to boarding their flights, as China battles a nationwide outbreak of the coronavirus after abruptly easing restrictions that were in place for much of the pandemic. Other countries, including the US, UK, India, Japan and several European nations, also imposed tougher measures on Chinese travelers amid concerns over a lack of data on infections in China and fears of the possibility that new variants may spread. China, for most of the pandemic, adopted a zero-COVID strategy that imposed harsh restrictions aimed at stamping out the virus, abruptly eased those measures in December. Chinese authorities previously said that from the 8th of January, overseas travelers would no longer need to quarantine upon arriving in China, paving the way for Chinese residents to travel. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
In Britain, people going back to work after the Christmas break have been advised to avoid train travel. The advice comes in the wake of a fresh strike by thousands of British railway workers that has disrupted rail services for the entire whole week. Nearly half of Britain's railway lines are closed and only 20% services are operational due to a long-running dispute over pay and working conditions. Rail services will be disrupted in many places, including most places in Scotland and Wales. Transport Secretary Mark Harper urged talks with union leaders and said the government had made a very fair pay offer. And in the news from across the world, economic institutions and experts are warning of a looming global economic recession in 2023 as major growth drivers are facing stagnation. The IMF said 1/3 of the world economy is expected to be in recession. Several major economies are likely to see lower rates of growth when compared to pre-pandemic levels. The IMF projected global growth at 2.7% for 2023, down from 3.2% in 2022. The first regular shipment of liquefied natural gas from the United States arrived in Germany on Tuesday as part of a wide reaching effort to help the country replace energy supplies it previously received from Russia. The tanker vessel arrived at a North Sea port where the LNG will be converted back into gas at a special floating terminal inaugurated last month by German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened his new cabinet on Tuesday, just hours after a minister visited a sensitive Jerusalem holy site. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir entered the site, known to Jews as the Temple Mount and to Muslims as the Noble Sanctuary, flanked by a large contingent of police officers. Mourners on Tuesday paid their respects to Brazilian soccer great Pelé before his burial later in the day. They filed past the coffin at the Vila Belmiro Stadium in Santos. Later, the Catholic Mass is expected to be celebrated at the stadium before his casket is ushered through the streets of Santos to nearby cemetery. Brazil's newly inaugurated President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is expected to come shortly before the coffin is removed from the stadium. Croatia started the new year with a new currency as it becomes the 20th member of the Eurozone. The Balkan nation of around 4 million people also officially entered Europe's visa-free Schengen zone nearly a decade since joining the European Union. Prices in Croatian shops and markets have been shown in both kunas and euros for the last 6 months as the country prepared to switch fully to the euro. Let's take a look at all the developments from the world of sports. India are taking on Sri Lanka in the first of 3 T20I series at Mumbai's Wankhede Stadium. Batting first, India set Sri Lanka a target of 163 runs to win. Jasprit Bumrah has been added to India's ODI squad for the 3-match series against Sri Lanka. The fast bowler has been out of action since September last year because of a stress reaction in his back. Pakistan are 154 for 3 at stumps on day 2 of the second test against New Zealand, chasing Kiwis' first innings of 449. Matt Henry and Jaz Patel added 104 for the 10th wicket partnership for the visitors. Saurashtra skipper Jaydev Unadkat creates Ranji Trophy history, becoming the first ever bowler to take a hat-trick in the first over of a game. Unadkat returned figures of 8 for 39 as Delhi are bundled out for 133 at Rajkot. Novak Djokovic is up and running in 2023, winning his first match of the year against Frenchman Constantin Lestine 6-3, 6-2 and reached the second round at the Adelaide International 1. Tennis legend Martina Navratilova has been diagnosed with stage 1 cancer in her throat and breast. This double whammy is serious but still fixable, the 66-year-old said in a statement on the WTA website. And with this, it's a wrap on today's bulletin. Keep watching Sansad TV for all the latest news and updates. Good night.